Lunaverse, episode 27. You made me believe in magic chapter of Crisis on Two Equestrias by Rainbow Double Dash. The physicist. She rather liked her new name, but right now she was a little busy and couldn't really spare the time to admire it. Pulled back into her being, twirling towards the ground at rather uncomfortable speeds. She gasped, which naturally meant she got to have a mouthful of dirt and mud as she collided with the ground, bounced, tumbled, rolled, and hit and rebounded off a tree. It then landed in the muck. Ow! Pain had by now lost its appeal as a new and interesting sensation. She decided she didn't like it and resolved to take steps to avoid it in the future as she stood. The world before her swam, and there were stars in her field of vision. She was reasonably certain she was about to black out. This too would be new. She suspected she didn't like it. Hate! She groaned before collapsing to the ground, unconscious. Some part of Moon's brain registered that getting down from the cloud would require considerable effort and timing. One of them would have to try to telekinetically lower the other two, one at a time, until they were low enough for Sparkle to catch them. Then they would have to take a leap of faith, jump down themselves, and hope that Sparkle's aim was good enough to catch them telekinetically before they hit the ground. Moon reasoned, in her mind, that it would make the most sense for her to take that leap of faith. Twilight and Sparkle had far more magical power than her or Trixie, so it made sense for Twilight to go down first. That Trixie, she was the innocent one, didn't deserve to be here, was completely out of her element. Moon did not consider herself to be expendable at all. With Twilight on the ground, they stood a good chance of catching her. Yes, this made perfect sense. That's what should have been done, said that small part of her brain. This part of her brain, however, was not in contact with the rest. Moon found herself only staring dumbly at the moon, and apparent a dark crater had appeared across its surface in the shape of an alicorn's head. She was vaguely aware of Twilight and Trixie, both trying to coax her into action, but she had nothing. There was a brief sensation of being lifted, lowered, and landed on the ground. But past that, all the moon could register was that, for the second time in her life, she seen her mentor, Princess Luna, banished the moon she claimed dominion over. This time, there were no elements of harmony to help. Twilight took a deep breath and hopped from the cloud. She kept her gaze focused down on Trixie and Sparkle, hoping that the two of them would coordinate enough to catch her as she fell. Unicorn telekinesis was, unfortunately, not much use for exerting any leverage on oneself. Her faith paid off. Trixie and Sparkle caught her as best as they could, with about 100 feet still to go to the ground. Though they focused on cushioning her fall more than stopping it, still felt like running into a wall, but that was considerably better than the alternative. She fought the urge to kiss the ground when she was set down, instead of trying over quickly to her fellow unicorns. "How's Moon?" she asked. Trixie waved a hoof in front of her counterpart's face. "Not good," she said when she got no response. Her main focus, however, was on the Ursa Major. By now it had struck back down to its normal height, and the angry red glow to its eyes had disappeared. It was still a frightening sight to behold, or would have been, were it not muzzling and playing with the Ursa Minor. The Starbeast's cub played biting and batting at its mother with its paws, its mother lay on her back, making the occasional half-hearted swing back. The fact that the Ursa was paying no real attention to Trixie didn't seem to calm her down too much. You're saying that it remembered you, Trixie asked Sparkle. "Well, her," Sparkle said, pointing at Twilight. "But I guess you can't tell us apart." Trixie swallowed. So, it would remember me?" Sparkle shrugged, even as the Ursas finally stopped playing with each other. At least the Major did. The Minor, not getting the message, continued to bat and bite at its mother's legs. The Major paid it no mind as it looked down at the four unicorns with deep, fathomless eyes, huffed, and began to walk away, cub in tow. If she was such a huge, gigantic star beast of unbelievable power and monstrosity, this would be sort of cute. Twilight watched it go, and decided whether or not the Ursa Major liked her and her counterpart. She had bigger problems to deal with. Problems that were highlighted when she looked up at the moon and saw that the imprint of the mirror of the moon upon it. Suddenly, Little Moon's near Cantonia seemed like a good idea, as she felt her legs give out. The princesses, all of them, she toned softly, feeling tears in her eyes. Trixie and Sparkle looked up at the moon. Both grimaced. Sparkle glanced at Twilight. I don't suppose this world has a Princess Cadenza? She asked. Twilight blinked and then shook her head. I don't know. I've never heard that name. She tapped her host together. Unicorns can move the sun if we all work together. I guess we'll have to do it again. Without the element of magic, there's no way to free Princess Luna or Celestia. Sparkle grimaced, looking down at herself. She glanced at Trixie, then back to Twilight. I know why Itisis didn't kill Trixie when she had the chance, she said softly. Because she is a very sick pony, Trixie guessed. Sparkle shook her head. She can't tell us apart, she said. You, me, these two. She would have a Twilight and Lula Moon. She can't really tell us apart, just like the element of magic couldn't. She's worried that if she doesn't kill us all at the same time, the element of magic inside of her might default to one of us. There was a silence as three considered, and glanced between her. Trixie coughed. Trixie is too famous to die, she insisted. I don't like the idea either, Sparkle said. I was just letting you know, getting that information out there. Twilight blinked a few times, before closing her eyes and wiping tears from them. It was too cold out to be crying, she told herself, and they were all exhausted. They needed to rest somewhere safe. Let's go, she said, standing and telekinetically placing Lula Moon on her back. The catatonic unicorn offered no objections. We need to find someplace safe to hide. We need to rest without interruption this time. Sparkle grimaced again, glancing at Trixie, then backed away the Ursus Major and Meyer had gone. I may have an idea about that too. No, Trixie said immediately, eyes widening at what the Sparkle was suggesting. No. Being trapped in the moon for 1,000 years had been an exercise of bitter loneliness and resentment for Luna. She had endured a millennium of resentment and anger, even as she prepared herself for her eventual return. Celestia had let it slip that no Nightmare Moon would escape, no matter how much she tried to deny it to herself. Nightmare Moon was Luna, and Luna was Luna. What? Being isolated and alone under the sun for 1,000 years had been an exercise in abiding loneliness and terror for Luna. She had endured a millennium of uncertainty and difficulty, trying to shape Equestria to the nation she knew it could be. She stumbled upon the fault in many times, but she had risen to the challenge so often. But every morning and evening, raising and lowering the sun, she touched the soul of Corona and felt hate and sheer rage. Luna and Luna had failed their sister. What? Luna was Luna, and Luna was Luna. Consciousness was a tangled mess between the two of them, a cacophony of images and memory. So many of them alike, so precious few of them different. But Luna and Luna scrambled and struggled to hold on to the memories they knew were theirs. They found differences and held on to them tightly. From there, rebuilt themselves individually. And at length, Luna found herself standing before 100 crystalline steps that led to a throne of polished white quartz, veined with silver and obsidian. And upon the Selena Cathedral sat Luna, gazing down at Luna, as the crystalline surface of the moon stretched in every direction and the stars that glistened overhead. Was it real? It was a mental construct, a dreamscape, a way to rationalize and interpret the predicament and make it easier for each to hold on to themselves. Luna upon the throne blinked a few times as she stared at her counterpart. Every day? She asked quietly, voice trembling. For the briefest moments their minds and souls had been one and the same, but for the barest shreds of ego to separate the two, and everything she had seen, the constant, recurring memory of her touching the sun, feeling pure hatred from it was the strongest. Luna below the throne bowed her head, wings fluttering. Every morning, every evening, except the last 6 months, she said. Luna upon the throne stared in her disbelief. To have to deal with that for a month would have been too much for a lesser pony. Luna herself could not conceive of doing it for a year. But 1,000, with no end in sight? Luna below the throne had thought that Corona was banished forever. There had been no 1,000-year prophecy, as there had been for Celestia and Nightmare Moon. Celestia had a goal to work towards, A light at the end of a long dark tunnel, something to buoy her spirits. Luna had nothing, and been forced to feel Corona's hate for her every day with no end in sight, yet somehow she preserved. Luna below the throne looked into Luna upon the throne. I am jealous of you, she said plainly. Here in the dreamscapes, after having touched souls, she could be little other than honest. Luna upon the throne now eyes narrowed. I let my loneliness overpower me, she said. I let myself tinker with dark magics to try and soothe my pain. I made the world revolve around me, my needs and desires. For 1,000 years I dreamed of nothing but loving my own sister Lo, of making her suffer as I had suffered, making all Equestria suffer. Yet thou art jealous of me? I am, Luna below the throne said. Because of you, the nightmare ended. She was there. I envy you. Luna upon the throne looked away, ashamed of her own feelings. And I am jealous, she said. I do not envy my circumstances, but I wish I had thy strength. Luna below the throne laughed. I spent 1,000 years terrified becoming Nightmare Moon. I am not strong. Thou art a liar, Luna upon the throne insisted. 1,000 years without slipping into darkness, when thou wert more lonely, more isolated, had more cause than any I ever imagined myself to have. Nor can I rule, Luna below the throne said, as though she had heard Luna upon the throne. Equestria stumbles, slides its corruption. I try to fix everything, but then it happens again and again. I am a poor substitute for Celestia. Luna upon the throne laughed now, not ironically, but as though her counterpart had told a true joke. She rose from the throne and descended halfway down the steps that led to it, shaking her head. My sister, she said, has created so many ministries and organizations, appointed so many officials and passed so much legislation. It's a wonder that the whole thing has not collapsed under its own weight. As though the entire government has gorged itself on the cakes that my sister loves so. Luna below the throne stifled a laughter of her own at that image. She considered her counterpart's words. Sub-Ministry of South Central Weather? She asked as he tentatively placed a hoof on a step. Then at length began her ascent towards the other Luna. Exactly, Luna said. I've begun trimming the fat as best as I can. Luna smiled stiffly. Don't trim out all of it. I feel I've invested too much power in too few ponies in my world. I will bear that in mind, Luna promised. The two now stood on equal footing, gazing at each other in long silence for a while. Beneath them, the stairs disappeared, the throne disappeared, and the two stood upon the surface of the moon. Kiss, kiss. I was trapped here once for 1,000 years, Luna said. But that was by the end of its reality. And then I was alone. And the antithesis is young, Luna added, and a perfect impetuous spellcaster. She would make some mistake in her spell. The easy way to escape. We shall find it together, Luna said. Yes, Luna agreed. Luna didn't have a memory of going to sleep, but she found herself waking up with a blanket over her and pillows beneath her. Opening her eyes, she found herself laying on her stomach, legs tucked beneath her, and head resting on something slightly purple. Luna resisted the urge to yelp and leap away, instead taking a deep breath and slowly pulling away from Twilight, or was it Sparkle, lay beside her. Trixie having laid her head against Twilight's neck. On the other side of her, she found her counterpart, laying on her back, while the other purple unicorn lay beneath her. Each had their own blankets, but over them lay the fifth additional warmth, necessity which freed Lunamoon, when she realized how cold it still was, and the quest for which made her snuggle up to Twilight or Sparkle in her sleep. Her cat and Hate lay nearby, as did Trixie and Sparkles. Glancing around, she found herself in a cave, which was illuminated by a low purple light. Lunamoon bit down on her heart when she saw the Ursa Major, in order to prevent herself from screaming in fright. The Ursa Major had little interest in her, however, and self asleep, curled up protectively around his cub. Lunamoon hurried on, and saw Twilight Sparkle stirring next to her, waking up herself. She glanced at Little Moon, how close they were, and eyes narrowed slightly. No jokes, she insisted.
What?
Little Moon asked, blinking a few times in confusion, before the implication hit her.
Gah! No! That didn't even...
The Ursa Major shifted slightly, huffing. Little Moon again put her mouth to her throat, quieting down as she stared. When the bear didn't wake up, she continued to lower her voice.
That didn't even cross my mind.
The purple unicorn nodded, yawning again. She sat the hoof to herself. Sparkle, by the way, she provided. Trixie grimaced.
Little Moon.
She identified in a low voice. I know. She said, eyeing the Ursa Major. She looked at Little Moon. Ursas feed on starlight and solar winds, not ponies. And this one doesn't think we're a threat. As long as we don't do anything to disturb her, we should be fine. Little Moon blinked, then nodded, looking down. Sparkle eyed her. You okay?
I'm fine, Little Moon said. Why shouldn't I be? All that's happened is Princess Luna got trapped on the moon, as well as Princess Celestia. Oh, and all new Princess Luna too. And this just has so much magic to toss around because she's an alicorn. And the elements of magic, which is still shattered, I'm just so pity. How are you?
Sparkle pressed her lips slightly together, tapping her frontals a few times. I figured out why Antithesis wants to kill us at the same time, she said, and told Little Moon her supposition. Little Moon thought it, and it sounded painfully ridiculous. But at the same time, she didn't have anything to counter it. Instead, she stared at her own host as she considered what Sparkle was saying and the implications.
Last resort,
She said, I agree, Sparkle assured her. I want to go home, but I can't think of anything else that might work. Antithesis is just so too strong.
She isn't,
Little Moon said, glancing at Sparkle.
not really. She isn't really casting any spells at all, like what my clone here said.
She bugged a hoof at Trixie, who was snoring in her sleep and buried herself under the blanket, but didn't wake up.
She just tears spells she pulls open. She wants a fireball. She tears open a fireball she told. She wants an enchanted Ursa Major. She tears open a dominate she told. Magic rushes in to fill the void. She gives her the same effect, without her having to use any of her own magic. Because that she doesn't have any in her. Nothing. Magic is almost going out of its way to avoid touching Antithesis herself.
Sparkle blinked at that, shaking her head.
That doesn't make any sense. How could she be alive? Nothing about this makes sense, and I don't think she is alive.
Sparkle's own voice answered. But from the other side of Little Moon, she looked and saw Twilight had woken up. She was sitting on her own barrel.
I think she's just exactly what she says she is. A pony-shaped thing wrapped around the remains of the element of magic.
She looked to the other two awake ponies.
She keeps saying she's just bile and hate and anger. She won't ever learn or grow. She doesn't understand why she's doing what she's doing beyond what makes it feel good. She doesn't want to understand.
So, Pony Mikan?
She just wants to hurt ponies, starting with us. Well, we're gone, so let's move on to our next victims. So how do we stop her? Little Moon asked. Without us killing ourselves. I mean, how do we stop something with basically limitless magic that only wants to kill us?
The three of them were silent, each trying to come up with something. Have we tried hitting her a lot? She went hoof to hoof with Princess Celestia and your Princess Luna, Twilight noted. I don't think we can hit her hard enough. And she has those nothing pockets, Sparkle said, sighing.
How do you deal with something that's just a hole? Fill the hole,
Little Moon said absent-mindedly. So she stopped thinking and thought about what she had said.
Fill the hole, that's it!
She looked between Trixie, Twilight, and Sparkle.
Magic is avoiding her. Why? Maybe because she's keeping it away. If all her spellcasting is just based on tearing spell-shaped holes in the world, and magic rushing in to fill it, maybe the only reason she exists is because there hasn't been any magic to rushing in to fill her.
Sparkle thought, maybe. Without knowing she even exists in the first place, we can't be sure. It's better than nothing. She looked at Little Moon. So we just have to get close to her
Start dumping magic at her until she's what? Sort of negated? That sounds like it could backfire badly, Twilight said, shaking her head. Something just seems wrong about it. Like we're missing something important. Maybe it's a couple of alicorns for making sure day and night happened. Unless there's some pony here who could take over.
Sparkle shook her head.
There's no Ophelia in this world. And Twilight's never heard of Cadenza. Right, Lunaverse said. We're at a time limit now, until this world freezes without the sun, and we keep raining away. We'll have to take the fight to antithesis, challenge her on our terms, surprise her for her teens.
Twilight bit her lip before nodding. Okay,
She said, looking down at Trixie's sleeping form.
She nudged her a few times with her hoof, trying to wake her. The only response was Trixie burying herself even deeper in the blankets and mumbling, 5 minutes.
Maybe leave her, Lunaverse suggested.
Twilight Sparkle glared at her. She yelled at her host defensively.
I meant it in a good way. She's not as a good spellcaster as us three. This isn't really her fight, and I don't want to see her hurt. I don't think she could do myself.
Lola Moon was interrupted, not by other purple unicorns, but by Trixie, who suddenly sat up, pulling on her hat and key from where they were laying, and throwing them on dramatically.
That's what you think,
she exclaimed, suddenly wide-eyed and awake. The Ursa Major again huffed in his sleep, and Trixie eeped and ducked down low. When the star beast didn't do anything other than twitch its nose, she stood again, one hoof in the air.
You forget,
she said, albeit in a low voice.
The Trixie's magic has something yours does not. Style.
Luluman blinked, wondering if she had ever woken up so suddenly and easily as Trixie does have.
I have style,
she said dismissively. Sparkle and Twilight seemed put off by being told that they lacked style. Trixie offered a simple smile and patted her counterpart on the head.
Trixie, sir, you're quite the hobbyist, she said. But Trixie is a professional magician, and misdirects Trixie's life. She's been listening to you three talking incessantly while she was trying to sleep. Honestly, it was extraordinarily rude. And you come up with the perfect plan to amaze, astound, and befuddle, and bedazzle antithesis, leaving her quite vulnerable to our efforts to fill her with magic until she explodes.
The other three unicorns all blinked at Trixie's rather vulgar description of what they were planning on doing.
You,
Twilight finally put forward.
I can't believe I'm going to say this,
Sparkle said, sighing.
But what's the plan?
Antithesis woke up suddenly and was instantly on her hooves, scrambling around, wings beating rapidly, and horn glowing brightly to banish the darkness she was surrounded by. She was hyperventilating, sweating, ears swiveling. She was right. Blanking out was a secretly unpleasant experience. It was rather like not existing for a time, what she meant as not existing to be. She had any recollection of what she had been like before she had been at all. She had grown rather fond of being and did not want it to end. An image of one of the Twilights, the one with the brown cape popped into her head. She was the one who teleported her, made her sail down and hit her head to get a mouthful of dirt and muck, reduced her to her present state, covered in grime and dead leaves. Oh, the Princess Luna and Celestia had done their part too. And this is his whole body ached, but the princesses and the sound beating she had taken from was such a secondary thing next to the knowledge it had been one of the Twilights who had driven her into unconsciousness. This is resolved never to sleep again, no matter what. Even as he took to the sky, trying to get her bearings, head whipping back and forth, looking for landmarks. Fortunately, the site where the battle of the Ursa Major had taken place was not hard to find. In a moment she was off. I was just trying to have a good time, she said as he reached a broad swath of forest that had been completely leveled. She alighted at the top of a fallen tree, horns still glowing bright as she attempted to look around, see if she could find her quarry.
And I'm just trying to enjoy myself. But no, you had to make it all so difficult.
Antithesis looked around, storing her wings. Out of corner no, she found it easier to keep track of 4 limbs rather than 6. Fortunately, she had no idea what she was looking for. In the mess the Ursa Major had created, there was no sign of any hoof prints. She could have given herself the nose of a bloodhound, but she didn't know what the Twilights or Trixie smelled like. And though she had Luna and Celestia come along, or she could have had any real fun with her victims to make them bleed. So there was no blood to follow either. Antithesis was about to scream in frustration when there was a flash of multicolored light and the sound of a distant, smaller explosion from behind her. Turning quickly, she saw the remains of fireworks going off. Then as she watched, a second and third, all launching straight into the sky, maybe a mile distant.
Come on!
A voice shouted, probably meant to be loud, but from a distance it was rather faint, though just inside Antithesis' range of hearing.
Come on! Come and see the greatest snow in all of Equestria!
Antithesis blinked. That was Trixie's voice. What was she doing? What was she setting off fireworks? Was it some kind of track?
Unless you're scared to be finished off. Antithesis!
Trixie's voice followed up.
Oh, I am going to kill you!
Antithesis warned, revealing her wings once more, shooting out towards the fireworks, seeing nothing but red.